I, 21 female, am in college and saving up for med school. My mom hasn't been in my life, but she has been in my older sister's. We have a 15-year age gap. So she left all her inheritance money for my sister when she died. I wasn't upset by this because we were not close anyways. Also, our father passed away a while ago and gave both of us inheritance money. My parents were quite old and I was a miracle baby. My sister is married and her son has heart disease and has to pay for the surgery. I assumed she'd use my mom's inheritance money to save for the surgery. However, she instead bought luxury goods. My grandparents are quite wealthy, and I've always been close with them, unlike my sister, who cut contact with them when she was a teenager. My grandparents both died. My grandpa first and then my grandma. I think it was from heartbreak. My grandpa left me all his money, and my grandpa split it 50-50. I also got their house, and they said I was not allowed to sell it. My sister and her husband were upset that my grandpa left it all to me. I said that it was her fault for cutting them off for no reason and not taking care of them, and that she should be grateful that grandma still left her some money. She again spent the inheritance money on luxury items. The money was more than enough to pay my student loan and my tuition for medical school. I used some of the other funds to move out of my aunt's place. My grandparents' house is big, and the bills are too expensive for me, and pay off my debt as well. My sister called me out and said she wanted to get dinner with me. We don't usually hang out together, so I thought it was weird. She asked me to use my money for med school to pay for my nephew's surgery. I said that the money you got from mom and grandma should be enough. She said she had already spent it all. I asked why I should compromise my future for something that could have easily been avoided by not spending the money on luxury items. She said she was desperate for money. I told her that if she's that desperate, she should sell her luxury goods. She said she wasn't willing. I eventually told her no, and she said I didn't need to worry and that I'm smart enough to get a scholarship and she wouldn't need to pay me back. I'm scared that if I give her the money that she won't pay me back or I won't get the scholarship, as she said. After I refused, she flipped the story, and all I get are angry texts from relatives. She posted it on Facebook too. She also sends me pictures of her family saying, do I want to ruin such a beautiful family? So, am I the idiot for not paying for it? Not the idiot. Unfortunately, your nephew's medical bills are not your responsibility. You choose what you were going to spend your money on, and she has no say on it. It is her fault that she spent that money on luxury items and has a chance to make money back to help her child and isn't choosing to do so. That's her fault, not yours. My stop was when the mom refused to sell her luxury goods. If the mom was broke and had nothing trying to save the kid, I would try to figure a solution, but mom selling her Louis Vuitton is the first solution. She already told you she isn't planning on paying you back. She's being very entitled. She had the money. She chose to use it for something other than her child's health. That is her error to fix. Not the idiot, not even a little. She didn't make her son's surgery a priority, and now she's trying to emotionally manipulate and abuse you so that you will make it your priority. I'm sure you love your nephew, but you absolutely shouldn't compromise your future to accommodate your sister's lifestyle choices. I'm sure she and her minions and relatives will use the phrase family comes first. But that's just what people say when they want something from you. And what they really mean is, you should put my family and me first, but you and your future family don't actually matter to me. Go to school and cut contact with your sister. OP, your sister is a hypocrite. Nothing in this world should be stronger than a mother's love for her child, and yet this? She has an easy way out. Sell the damn handbags. But no, she immediately turns to her sister, who she hasn't talked to in years, and who really shouldn't be the caretaker of a 36-year-old. So yeah, you're apparently more of an adult than your sister is. My wife and I are both in our early 30s, and before the world decided it needed to shake things up, we were working and earning well. The conversation of kids came up, and she said she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and we worked out the financials of it all, and it was fine. I was up for a promotion that came with a decent increase in salary, so we would still be fairly comfortable. Even without the raise, we would be able to make it work. So we got pregnant and everything was fine. I had plenty of time with our kid, and my wife took to being a stay-at-home mom well. Then before Global Issue, the company I worked for took a big hit and scaled back the workforce a great deal. I was offered either redundancy or a lower position and job security. The wife and I agreed it was better to have a stable job during these tumultuous times, and when things got back to normal, I could look into a spot similar to my old position. Well, the industry hasn't recovered, and it looks like it won't be recovering anytime soon, if at all. We are struggling financially, and I've had to do more work to keep our heads above water. Now on to the problem. Where I work offers free daycare and building, which would allow me to spend more time with my kid and let my wife return to work. In addition, her industry is now actively recruiting, and it will double our income while allowing me to not constantly work overtime. When I broached this subject, she didn't take it well. She does not want to return to work and feels I'm backpedaling on our agreement that she could be a stay-at-home mom with our kid. I tried explaining that things change and we can't afford to not have two incomes right now. But if it changes again in the future, we can return to old ways. This wasn't enough for her, and now she hasn't spoken to me in a week. I know I'm an idiot for having to change the house dynamic, but it's necessary. Should I just suck it up and keep going as it is to keep a happy household? Not the idiot at all. Your wife needs to grow up and act like an adult. It is incredibly selfish of her to act this way for not only you, but your child. It's not like you're changing your agreement just because you feel like it. It's because you need to or have to. The fact that she would rather force you to work continual overtime, resulting in your child barely seeing you and you inevitably getting burned out, is appalling. It's not fair to you, and it's sure not fair to your child. I genuinely feel bad for you. I hope your wife pulls her stuff together and does what's right. OP, she wants the freedom and security that being a stay-at-home mom offers. Like she got mad when you asked that she went to work? Heck, her offering to be one should have been noticeable, especially when she expects you to work harder than taking this option. Not the idiot. You have a daycare at your work where you'll get to spend time with them. There is no concern for your children's safety. Her refusal is selfish, as you are now picking up extra work for income she could easily supplement. Finally, the silent treatment makes her a triple idiot. My 25 male, possibly now ex-girlfriend, 23, was kicked out of her apartment 2 weeks ago. She does not have a good relationship with her parents and doesn't have any friends with anything beyond a one-bedroom college dorm. So she asked me if she could stay with me until she finds something else. I agreed because she had nowhere else to go. But I have to be clear, this was in no way an arrangement of us living together. This is my first place on my own, and I have no interest in moving in with anyone in the foreseeable future. I don't have many rules, but you have to clean up your messes, don't wear your shoes inside, and stay out of the room at the end of the hallway. I am into fixing, building, and tinkering with computers and computer parts in my off time. The room at the end of the hallway has everything in it, amounting to a lot of money. I do not want anyone to touch it or risk breaking any of it. And before you ask, no, the room does not have a lock as I live alone, so there is no reason. No doubt you see where this is going. She invited a couple of friends over. They were drinking a lot and ended up entering the room. They tripped over and stood on multiple components, amounting to, at a minimum, several hundreds worth of damage. I came home to one of her friends passed out in the room, another passed out on a couch, and her and a friend in my bed. The place was a complete mess. I didn't wait a moment and kicked her friends out and made her clean up the place while semi-intoxicated and started checking what they had broken in the room. I told her I wanted her to leave the next day. She started apologizing and told me she'd pay me back, to which she quickly backtracked when I told her a rough estimate. She's a college student, so $1,000 or so is roughly her entire part-time work income in 2.5 months. This led to crying, which led to begging. So I told her if she can't even follow the most basic rules, I don't trust her in my place. She has since not yet found a new place or somewhere to stay. She slept in her car once and has been couch surfing and sparing no detail of telling me about it. I feel kinda bad. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You laid out the rules. She broke them and is now being forced to be held accountable. Of course she's gonna throw a fit. She made her bed and now she can lie in it. Why'd she get kicked out of the other apartment? Not following shared rules? Just a guess. She doesn't get along with many people, other than those that get drunk and trash your things. Is this really the type of person you want in your life? I think everyone's the idiot here. It sounds like she got a bit too comfortable in your home and should have respected your rules. especially as she and her friends cause costly damages for you. But you say she is still your girlfriend, but you allow her to sleep in her car? That isn't safe or caring. Relationships are about wanting to work through each other's foul-ups, even when they make you mad. Kicking them out to Lord knows where suggests you don't really see this as one of those relationships. Maybe you should both accept that this is over. He invited her into his home when she had nowhere to go, and in the span of 2 weeks, destroyed the house and caused thousands of dollars in damage to his stuff. But he is also at fault here? For what? Trusting an adult to somewhat resemble an adult? Without wading into who's the idiot decision, OP, you've got to break up with her. I don't know how you are comfortable making someone you call your girlfriend sleep in their car. Feels like the ends of the line. It's healthy for you to have boundaries and to enforce them. I, 35 male, was working out at the gym, and I was resting in between workouts, and I wanted to play a mobile game. This mobile game lets you switch between landscape and portrait, but the only way to switch is to rotate it while the phone is upright. You can't switch it if your phone screen is facing the ceiling. Anyways, I'm playing, and a 20-something girl comes up to me and is like, "Hey, you." I lock my screen and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" She immediately grabs my phone and tells me to give her my lock screen passcode. I'm like, "No, give me my phone." And she starts screaming about how I was taking creepy pictures of her and that I need to delete them. I'm telling her that I was playing a mobile game, and she must have seen me trying to rotate my screen. Sorry if it was pointed in her direction, etc. She gets the gym workers into this and tells them she wants me kicked out. The gym workers were great and were really nice to both of us. They asked me if I could give them the passcode and they could check my phone as a third party. I asked the girl what she's going to give me if she's wrong. This is a pretty messed up allegation. She was like, "You get to keep working out here and maybe I'll apologize." I tell her that's not good enough. I ask her if she has any cash or Venmo or something. After some back and forth, she pulls out a 20. And I'm like, okay, if they unlock my phone and don't see any photos of you, I get to keep this $20. She agrees because she seems fairly sure of herself. Well, the guys end up unlocking my phone and see my mobile game is still on the screen. Then they go to the photos and look through the photos from the day and don't see any of her. So I'm like, cool, and grab my phone and my money. She starts going off about how I probably hit them or something. Now my girlfriend, who came over 2/3 into this whole ordeal, says I could have just unlocked my phone for her and not embarrassed this girl. I said it was the principle of the matter. Girlfriend says this girl will probably think twice about calling people out in the future, and one of them may be the real deal. I told her that was not my problem. She can't just embarrass people in a public setting like this and expect to get away with it. Not the idiot. And the girl 100% should think twice before screeching out such allegations, unless she is damn well sure. That's not a negative from this experience. I'm glad the employees were nice, but the gym should have thrown something like a free month your way, because going through your gallery is a violation that would have me cringing for days. What if you had just taken some booty pics of yourself? Being crept on sucks, and every woman knows the feeling, but you're the legit victim here. No way you're the idiot. Everyone's the idiot here except your girlfriend. She's right. Women are often harassed in the gym. Like, a lot. You won the argument. You proved yourself innocent. The money thing just seems like petty pride. Maybe she could have been more polite about confronting you about it. And of course, you weren't taking photos of her. However, you showed a complete lack of empathy and situational awareness of how your behavior could make others anxious. Men constantly harass women, and men seem to think it's a non-issue. Instead of being defensive and weird about it, he could have used some empathy and recognized that women are not in a world that feels safe and comfortable, and just showed her what was on his screen. That would have been the end of it. It takes zero effort to reassure the safety of others. OP, you are the idiot. I, 30 male, was 18 when my parents divorced. My dad was the one who filed, and he waited until I was of legal age so there wouldn't be any hassle over custody. Unfortunately, my mom did not take the news well, and neither did my sister, Jane, 32. My dad told us that he understood if we were upset and could feel how we wanted to feel about this, but requested that we not take sides. I was mainly in shock, and when I asked my dad why, he simply explained he wasn't happy with my mom for years and he wanted to find someone else. It was hard, not gonna lie, but I ultimately accepted it. I made no secret that I was definitely on the side of reconciliation. Still, I wouldn't make an active attempt to do it. Jane did not take the same approach as I did and yelled at my dad, asking him how he could destroy the family, and said she would never forgive him for what he did. She even went so far as to agree to testify in court when our mom suspected our dad of cheating. He wasn't, and while it couldn't technically be proven, I would have bet money that she helped mom steal stuff from dad. Basically, my dad had some golf clubs that he really cherished and moved into his apartment before he filed to try and hang on to them. To get inside the complex, you needed a code, and the only ones who had it were him, me, Jane, and my uncle just in case. While my dad was out, Jane went to his apartment. On that same day, they went magically missing, but resurfaced a year after the divorce was finalized, when our mom was selling them online. True to her word, Jane never forgave Dad and didn't invite him to her wedding. I know that it really hurt my dad that she did that, and I was angry at her for it. And she responded, "I don't want someone who can't honor marriage at my wedding. It's bad luck." During Global Issue, my dad got sick, but after a few weeks he recovered. Because he wasn't sure if he'd make it, he drafted a will where I basically get the lion's share of his assets. Jane was to get the legal minimum amount, so she wouldn't challenge it. I'm not sure how, especially since Jane doesn't have regular contact with our dad, but she found out and was furious. She called me saying that this was Dad's way of punishing her for not being happy with him divorcing our mom, and demanded that I sign a document agreeing to share 50% of whatever I get. I was upset with my sister for violating our dad's privacy like that, and told her that I wouldn't do it because it was her own fault for being a total brat to Dad. I haven't spoken to my dad about it. I kinda don't want to, because I don't like the idea of him dying when he's healthy. So I don't know how true all of this is, but my mom and others are starting to hound me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your dad can decide what to put in his will and what he wishes done with his estate, and you can and should respect his wishes. It sounds like your mom, sister, and anyone who is hounding you are the idiots, and greedy idiots at that. It's a special level of entitlement to cut someone out of your life and then get the whole family rallying behind you that you're entitled to have that person's estate. Not the idiot. Do not undermine your father's will by signing away anything to your sister. If she has a problem with the distribution of his estate, she needs to take it up with him. You should warn him that someone is telling your sister these details, though. He should know that someone close to him cannot be trusted. Not the idiot. Your sister is the biggest idiot in history. It's always better for the parents to divorce than to live in a miserable relationship they're not happy with. She is, for some reason, thinking she's entitled to choose who the dad is in a relationship with. No, she's not.